Sorry, I'm eating candy. Listen, I've had a little bit of pizza and a lot of beer, which does not make for a good video, but we're doing it anyways. Hold on. So far away from the microphone. Don't mind the red face. I'm slightly British and Irish, and I'm a mix of a lot of things. So, have you guys ever done an ancestry test? I'm like, I was 50%, then I shot up to 65% or 64%, then I went down to, that's my dog's eating, I'm sorry. Food's right there. I love them. What do you want me to do? I love them. Yeah, I'm down to sorry. Anybody like jujubes? They're I don't know if they're the same company that makes is it jujubes Swedish fish? That's not right. I don't remember the candy. I'll remember it as soon as this video's done, though. But anyway, I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. So I'm like, I think I'm a high 50% British and Irish, and I got like Italian and German. My mom was born in Germany on the military base, so she's German, and she was German and American. Hey. Shut your butt. So she was German American. My dad was born in London. But both my grandfathers were from the U.S. Actually, both were from Illinois. And then both of my grandmother on my dad's side and my nana, we called her on my mom's side, they were both born in England. I think they were both born in England. I just don't know where. But it's June 3rd. It's Friday. Almost 7 o'clock at night. And my mother, her death would have been 10 years on June 30th. And the crazy part is, it was Saturday, June 30th, 2012. When she died, which was the 5th anniversary of her mother dying, which also was Saturday, June 30th, 2007. That's crazy. As I eat candy. Jujubes, it's not... I don't remember now. It's not jujubes. It's something similar, though. If I didn't have alcohol in my system, I could probably think. So good. I just sit here and chew on them. What was I making? Oh, yeah, I was making a video. That's what I was going to do. Oh, yeah. I'm also 0.0002% South Asian. So, I'm sure you can see that in the features. And then I'm 0.08% North African. Again, I mean, when you look at me, first thing you're thinking of is, that's a North African Asian guy. And I get it. But it's true. I think everyone's going to have some sort of descendant of African in them, obviously. But I was related to, I don't know if I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I was related to, I share a relation with King Louis XVI, the one who, French Revolution, him and Queen Antoinette. They both played a game called Who's Gonna Lose Their Head First, and they both lost. Jeez, girls. They get food. How many people's dogs do this? They get food out of the bowl, and then they sit it right next to the bowl, and they eat it off the floor. And then they stand right next to each other, and one will be eating, and the other one's just looking at them, growling. And then one stops and walks away, and the other one just stands there in front of the food like, nope, you're not getting any more. This is my food now. Come here. This is Kelby. Say hi, Kelbs. You look so paranoid. What do you do? Your eyes are darting all over the place, you little freak. Do you want to stay up here with me? You absolutely don't, do you? Sorry. Kids next door have swimming pools. Do you want me to put you down? Yep, no, it's fine. Just hit the table when you walk by. It's fine. I'm going to put you down, okay? Alright, let's get into the 911 calls with disturbing backstory. This is a video by Mr. Nightmare, and this was a Sam from Holland request because of the Ruth Price 911 call that I did. Which, if you haven't heard it, and you just skipped it for whatever reason, it's straight up discretion on that one. Listener discretion. Because when she starts screaming, it's so brutal. It gives me goosebumps. And I even said in the comment thing, Sam and I were going back and forth, and I said, it's one of those videos that sound. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you not burp? That sound of her screaming is so... every time. And I know Sam says it's real, but let's just pretend it's not, because it would make it easier. I've been talking a lot. It's the alcohol. So let's go ahead and get into this. But I believe that there's a Ruth Price thing on this, just so you know, because I'm watching this video because of that. Sam requested it. So just a heads up on this. The next couple of videos that I'm going to do after this, which they probably won't be released after this, I'm going to do Epic History TV World War I, because I have a World War I book and I really want to read it. And I'm trying to get myself psyched back into reading, because there's quite a few books back here. And then up behind me I have, oh damn it, I paused it again. I have George Bush and Ronald Reagan, which I have read, Gerald Ford, there's an Obama, Millard Fillmore, Andrew Johnson. I've got the third book of Teddy Roosevelt right here, Colonel Roosevelt, which I want to read. I don't know if anyone saw the History Channel thing. That was awesome. But I have some Lincoln, some Andrew Jackson, a ton of George Washington. And then I have, what's behind me is John Tyler, William Howard Taft, Benjamin Harrison, McKinley, James Madison, Grover Cleveland, Franklin Pierce, Rutherford B. Hayes, James A. Garfield, Warren G. Harding, a couple Grant, and then Grant's memoirs, and another James K. Polk. And then on this shelf underneath me, I have a couple Civil Wars. I have one of them called The Life of Johnny Reb and The Life of Billy Yank. So it's about what both soldiers in the Civil War, what they kind of went through. And then I have a book on Mark Twain. But I've just been so lazy on reading. None of this matters to you. And I apologize for people who are so mad. Fast forward to the part where the video starts. The video's going to start right now. Oh, you people hate me. Oh, by the way, quick check. Oh, put in the wrong password on my phone. All right. Hey, I'm down to 100 subscribers now. I had 101, so I lost one. How about that? You win some, you lose some. All right, video time. Let's go.
Shawn Great stalked northern Ohio between 2006 and 2016, slaughtering women after assaulting them. He's now on death row awaiting execution, thanks to one would-be victim's bravery. The following 911 call you're about to hear is of that would-be victim and is possibly one of the most tense 911 calls you'll ever hear. On September 13th, 2016, Ashland police received a phone call from an unknown woman who police referred to as Jane Doe, who whispered that she had been kidnapped and was tied up mere feet away from her sleeping abductor. She tried to describe the man who was holding her captive and the house she was in. The best she could manage was that it was next to the 4th Street laundromat.
What is the address to your emergency?
By the 4th Street laundromat.
What is it?
4th Street laundromat.
What's the problem?
I've been abducted.
Who abducted you?
Shawn Green.
You said John Green?
Shawn Great.
Where's he at now?
Asleep.
Where's he sleeping at?
In the bedroom.
In what bedroom?
There's 2 houses right by the laundry street. And it's in one of those houses.
What color's the house?
Yellow. Please hurry.
Is it an apartment?
No, it's a house.
It's a house.
Okay, does he own the house?
No, he broke into.
Does anybody actually live there?
I think they've been abandoned.
Does he have a weapon?
He's got a taser.
Are you injured?
A little.
Where did he take you from?
My apartment. I was walking with him.
You were walking with him?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you walking to?
His place. I had known.
I hate this 911 operator. Where were you walking to? Who gives a shit? Send the fucking police. I'm sorry, but good God.
For like a month and a half.
Were you two going to paint a house next week? Who gives a shit? Shut up.
Is there any way you can get out of the building?
I don't know without waking him, and I'm scared.
Is there a bathroom in the house?
Well, his bedroom is closed, and he made it so it would make noise.
And if you told him you had to go to the bathroom, he would do something to you?
Oh my God, lady.
Because he had me tied up.
So are you tied up now?
Well, yeah, but I kind of freed myself.
Is he in the same room with you?
Yes.
Are you bleeding from anywhere?
Not anymore. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, I woke him up.
You just set the phone down.
While the 911 dispatcher continued talking the caller through escaping, Jane accidentally knocked over her captor's taser, waking him. The line went dead briefly, and she was suddenly minutes away from being the 6th victim of the serial killer Shawn Great. And by this point, the police knew they had to race if they wanted any chance of saving the helpless woman. Great sat up in his bed and stared at the floor, before laying back down again, not realizing that Jane was on the phone with the police.
Are you still there?
I'm a smoker.
What?
I'm a smoker.
Do you hear any officers outside?
No.
Okay, they're in the area. Can you get out of the house?
Locked.
It's locked. Are you at the door?
Yeah, I am.
She's at the door. She's at the door on the right side of the house. She got out of the bedroom. Is there a window there?
Yeah, I'm looking out of it. Tell them to come back.
She said,
Hurry.
she said to hurry up and come back.
Yeah, they can see me if they come
locked.
to it.
The door is locked.
Come out. Hurry up. Get out of here.
Wow.
Where is he?
Bedroom sleeping.
Still sleeping?
Yeah.
Okay, they have her.
He went on armed.
Unarmed?
Yeah.
Right now. Do it. Well, if you can't be in there, here, cover yourself up. Tell me what happened. What happened?
Their rescue of the woman and arrest of Great was heard on the call. Thankfully, the woman survived the...
How scary does that have to be for you to make the call with the person sleeping next to you and just pray that they don't wake up? God. She could get out of the room, though. She was out of the room. Huh. That's freaky, man.
ordeal, though likely not without having some lasting scarring effects on her. As a teenager growing up in Marion, Ohio, Sean Great was well liked, particularly by girls. He had a charm about him that would mask his inner rage, at least for a while. When he was 18, he was arrested for grabbing his then-girlfriend by the throat. A few years later, he was arrested for breaking into his 17-year-old girlfriend's home and choking her, and only 8 months later, he broke into the same girl's house again, this time slipping underneath her couch and hiding until he saw an opportunity to strike. This time he had a butcher knife in hand. But Great's charm and artificial friendliness allowed him to go on and have 3 children with 3 different women, but his inner anger would never lay dormant for long. His ex-wife, Amber Nicole Bowman, claims that Sean at one point said, "If I can't see my daughter, no one will." By his mid to late 20s, Great's behavior became more erratic. He would begin dating Christina Hildreth. The pair were happy and content in the beginning, but Great couldn't hide his true colors for long. Not only did he become violent, controlling, and jealous, he would also show signs of being cold and indifferent towards his confused girlfriend, and would eventually end up physically abusing her.
So was he violent with you?
Yes.
In what way?
He broke my hand, blacked my eye, strangled me, tied me up.
But his hostility would soon extend beyond just romantic partners, and even to friends, when he asked his friend for a loan, which was declined, and in response, he sent his friend a disturbing text saying, "Meet the other me." Eventually, Great would find himself living in Mansfield, hopping from woman to woman, and around this time, he met his first 2 victims, Rebecca Lisi and Candace Cunningham. Rebecca was a sex worker, and her body was found in March 2015. Her death was ruled an overdose originally, but Great later pleaded guilty to her murder. Candace Cunningham lived with Great in Mansfield before her disappearance in 2015. Police couldn't find her until the day of Great's arrest, when he led police to her body, which was lying behind a burned-down house in Richland County on the day of his arrest. Great managed to somehow become even more barbaric towards his next and final victim, Jane, who you heard in the phone call just before. Jane met Sean Great around her apartment complex, and he eventually gained her trust. That was when he exposed her to his true self. He trapped her in an abandoned house and forced her to endure days of torture and other unspeakable things while she was tied up. Great barely slept on the first night of his victim's capture, giving her no chance of escape. However, after another day of torture, Great eventually passed out. His phone was right next to him going off, but he was seemingly in a very deep sleep. So Jane took this opportunity as her likely last chance to escape alive, and she reached over his sleeping body as stealthily as she could to pick up the phone and dialed 911 while still partially bound. And that was the start of the 911 call. When police arrived at the property, they were met with more bodies than they'd expected. Great had been mercilessly killing the women who were unfortunate enough to trust him, and some of them were decomposing in the house he was squatting in.
Jeez.
The 911 operator received a lot of hate and ridicule over her loud voice and constant seemingly unnecessary questions during the call, as many people believe she could have very easily led to Great being awoken, either by the sound of her voice or because of all the questions she was making Jane answer. Thankfully, things went the way they did, and this 911 call was a very fortunate story, as it got a monster off the streets who no doubt wouldn't have stopped doing what he was doing.
I want to apologize to the 911 operator. I thought the questions were stupid after a while. But I understand they got to get as much information as possible. In the end, the girl was saved, so she didn't deserve my fuck you, but she definitely needs to ask less useless questions. Like, I don't know. The girl's alive. Everyone's alive. Everyone's okay. He's arrested, so it worked out. So, but you know, for the future, just kind of use it as one of those moments of, oh, I shouldn't ask useless questions. Were you two holding hands and skipping down the road? She didn't ask that.
The call you're about to hear was made by millionaire James Bob Ward, reporting that he had just shot his wife. His tone throughout the call is very monotone, calm, and nonchalant, considering the matter for which he's making the call. The real estate mogul claims he walked into his and his wife's room to turn in for the night, and was shocked to find his allegedly depressed and intoxicated 51-year-old wife, Diane, holding his Magnum handgun. Bob says the weapon accidentally discharged while he was struggling to get it away from her before she could kill herself or him, or the both of them. This was the call.
Yeah, what's the emergency?
I just shot my wife.
You just what?
I just shot my wife.
Where's your wife?
She's right here on the floor. Please send somebody at 5277 Iowa Country Club Drive.
Okay, what's going on there?
I just shot my wife.
You just shot your wife?
I shot my wife, yes, please send somebody over.
Stay on my woman. Let me add the fire department. Don't hang up.
I will.
Where's the weapon at, sir?
Orange County Fire Rescue. The address of your emergency?
44.
5277 Iowa Country Club Drive.
On there.
I just shot my wife.
Okay, where's the weapon?
It's in the,
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Where, is she breathing?
No, she's dead.
You know that for sure.
I think so, yes.
Okay, sir, where is the weapon?
It's in the nightstand next to the bed in the master bedroom. And I'll be glad to meet the officers at the front door.
Where is your wife, sir?
She's on the floor in the master bedroom.
How old is she?
Born in 1954.
Okay, you're sure she's not breathing, or?
She's dead. She's done. I'm sorry.
Sir, did you purposely do this?
No,
Or was it an accident?
it was an accident.
How long ago did this happen, sir?
Probably 5 minutes ago. I'm on the front steps.
You're out on the front
There.
steps?
Yeah, I'm on the front steps.
Okay.
I'm leaving the front gate, I'm on the front steps, we'll go upstairs and we'll find Diane. Yeah, they're passing. You told me back up.
Did you see the deputy?
Yeah, I see lights, but they're somewhere back up. That's them back up. Hey guys, over here. Over here. Guys, over here. Hey, you're on the phone. I'm making the front stop. No, I got him on the phone. We're good.
We can hang up. We're with him. Okay.
Bob was charged with second-degree murder of Diane. He has always claimed the gun went off when he was trying to get it away from Diane, but prosecutors believe the two were arguing over financial problems, and that's why Bob shot her. Now it was up to a jury to decide, but to this day the question is, was Diane Ward's death really just a tragic accident, or did her husband Bob murder her in cold blood? Well, not too long ago, a significant discovery of a letter from the grave may finally answer the question that's confounded the justice system and haunted the Ward family since the day Diane died. Bob and Diane had it all, a happy 26-year-old marriage,
Big
two
old house.
daughters, and enough money to own numerous luxurious estates in several states. Daughters Sarah and Mallory say they and their parents were a loving, tight-knit family. But eventually, Bob's real estate empire collapsed under the weight of the Great Recession, and even though Bob was facing bankruptcy, his daughters claimed he remained optimistic. But not Diane, who grew increasingly low-spirited over the prospect of losing the family fortune. Sarah said her mother vainly tried to ease her depression with booze and prescription drugs, and that she would turn into a different person far from the loving mom she knew, and completely out of control even in public. She said her mother was also directing all her anger and resentment at her father, after having to cut back on some of the luxuries the family grew used to, and Sarah says her father was like her mother's punching bag. Bob's defense attorneys painted Diane as a suicidal and unstable person, and in 2018, his defense attorneys produced new evidence. A suicide note written by Diane was found in the couple's Atlanta home. It was reportedly found by an estate sales professional in the closet in the master bedroom. She stated that she was on a ladder in a small closet in the bedroom when she noticed a pink notebook next to some hair rollers. She opened the notebook and found a note and some cards with Diane Ward printed on them. The alleged suicide note read, "Dear Mallory and Sarah, please know how much I love you. I don't know how it happened for me to end up like this. I want you to have wonderful lives and know that I will always be watching out for both of you. Take care of Daddy. I love you more than you will ever know. Take care of the dogs. They will need you." Defense attorneys claim that a former FBI handwriting expert could testify that he thinks the handwriting is indeed that of Diane Ward. So this all begs the question, is what Bob says true? Was his shooting of his wife an accident? But if this were the case, Bob's calm and seemingly unaffected tone over the phone with 911, and even during his police interrogation, wouldn't make much sense.
Then you're doing it rather
Any
than...
reading glasses anybody has?
Sure. I will grab...
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have my pair.
Thank you.
I may
I have a folding pair, but I think they took them. Thank you.
Oh.
Well, like I said, I'm Detective Frost. I didn't get your name, your first name.
I go by Bob.
Okay.
But it's James Robert.
It would be a safe assumption that anyone who just accidentally murdered their wife would show any kind of remorse or regret, but Bob was calm and seemingly unaffected throughout. He's still in prison today.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Their marriage could have been falling apart. There just wasn't any love there. And maybe she did try to kill herself and he was just like, no, you're not doing that. Stop being stupid. And maybe the gun did go off, but he was probably at a point where he just didn't care. Of course, that same thing. He could have shot her and said she did it. The suicide note to me, I don't know. I don't know how I feel on that one. If that would be the... Did he get found guilty of second-degree murder then? I don't know. Without looking into the case anymore, if you told me, yeah, he definitely killed her, and here's why, I would be like, okay, sounds good. But if you said, no, he definitely did not kill her because here's why, I would say, yep, sounds good. I could be swayed so easily on this one. I'm on the fence, and gusts of winds are pushing at both sides, and I'm just waiting to be knocked off the fence. Yeah, I don't know how I feel on that one. There wasn't any, look, if you were to listen to the 911 call that I made when my mother died, and you were to judge my voice on that call, I probably sounded like he did. I found my mother. My mother died of a heart attack. I found my mother dead the next morning. My 911 call was emotionless, but it wasn't by design. It was simply because I think when I found her and I felt for a pulse and I realized that she was dead, it was That was my stomach, not me. It was me. It was my stomach. Sorry. No, when I found her, it kind of went into a shock that lasted almost 24 hours. Well, no, it lasted 12 plus hours, but it carried over. I mean, obviously, losing someone's going to carry over. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the phone, I'm clear, concise, and I just remember the 911 operator saying, "Do we need to send an ambulance?" And I was like, "I don't think so, no." And they were like, "Do you understand what we're asking?" And I was like, "I think so." And they said, "Is the person deceased?" And I said, "I'm not sure," but I couldn't say no. I mean, I couldn't say yes. It wouldn't, those words wouldn't come out of me. My nose is itching, sorry. My nose is itching, sorry. I couldn't say yes, like the words just wouldn't come out of my mouth, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And they said, "Is she dead?" And it was like, yes. But if you were to listen to it, I probably sound cold. But I was just in a shock. So I'm kind of stalling because I think this is the Ruth Price one, and I really don't want to listen to it. All right, let's just do it. Let's suck it up.
This last one has been circulating the internet for decades, and you've likely heard it before. In fact, I've included it in a video I privated many years ago. I'm sure some of you remember. But new information has arisen on this call recently.
This is Ruth Price of 3877. What's the problem, ma'am? Oh, well, there's some guy been checking the place out. Oh. Well, he went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy, and he comes to my door. And
now the pause right here, a lot of people think she's talking on the phone, and all of a sudden she pauses because maybe she hears a window, or maybe she, a window close, a door close, creaking from upstairs, or creaking coming down the stairs, or something like that. So a lot of people think that she hears that and she pauses and she listens and she doesn't hear it, and then she goes back into that conversation again, and you'll see. I'm just really dreading this one. Apparently, because I double tapped it.
yeah, and said he's looking for an apartment.
Just gets back into it now.
So I live alone, and I'm an old lady. Mm-hmm. Where is he now, ma'am? I have no idea.
For the longest time, this phone call was commonly just referred to as things like "old woman murdered during 911 call." For a long time, people speculated that this call is just a hoax, or a choreographed recording for 911 operator training. Eventually, though, the woman's name was revealed to be Ruth Price, and it was learned that the call was in fact real. However, the internet was still having a hard time gathering any further information on this Ruth Price woman, or what her fate was after the phone call. The unfortunate assumption that she was murdered shortly after this call was always the go-to assumption. At the beginning of the call, Ruth begins to give her address as 3877, but is cut off by the 911 operator. During this 911 call, Ruth presents herself as an elderly woman who's concerned about a man who knocks on her door saying he's looking for an apartment. Ruth pauses after giving this information. Then you hear a blood-curdling scream, and Ruth says something about not being able to breathe. Recently, though, information as to who this Ruth Price woman was finally surfaced. Ruth Mildred Starr was born in Pueblo, Colorado on December 7, 1913. Ruth went to Central High School in Pueblo, Colorado, and this was her yearbook photo. Ruth's obituary was recently found, which shows that she died in 1994 in the San Diego Union Tribune. Ruth was also mentioned in a newspaper section called Assaults on November
Sorry, let me go back for a second. I caught a glimpse of something and I wanted to...
Colorado, and this was her yearbook photo. Ruth's obituary was recently found.
She's survived. Family request contribution. Okay. I did a, it's one of those quick reads, and I thought she died at Grossmont Hospice. And I was like, well, no. Then it's not the same person. Okay. Sorry.
Which shows that she died in 1994 in the San Diego Union Tribune. Ruth was also mentioned in a newspaper section called Assaults on November 3rd, 1980 in the San Diego Evening Tribune. In this newspaper clipping, it says Ruth M. Price was assaulted on the 3800 block of 35th Street.
In the area where she was grabbed from behind and choked. Oh, she was able to break the attacker's grip after dropping the telephone, screaming and pulling at the attacker's hands. The youth fled. The youth fled is the best thing I've ever read. Oh my gosh.
This is Ruth Price of 3877.
This newspaper clipping which you see here fits the Ruth Price 911 call perfectly.
Yes.
It wasn't a hoax, and it wasn't a 911 training call. That blood-curdling scream was unfortunately very real. But fortunately, even in Ruth's old age, she managed to fight off her attacker and live for another 14 years. What seems like a realistic possibility now is that this call was used to shock trainees for 911 call taking because of how blood-curdling and disturbing her panicked screaming was. And thus was born the legend of an old woman brutally murdered while on the phone with 911. At least this story had a much happier ending than originally thought.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mr. Nightmare. My God, you know how I've heard this thing probably dating back to 2015, and I've just always assumed that she probably died, and I've never looked into it or anything like that, and I've always thought she probably died, but I always wanted to believe that it wasn't real because, the training, as he said, it was used for the training thing, and so I've always just convinced myself, no, it wasn't real. It was a fake thing, especially because the operator cut her off and blah, blah, blah. And I always thought because the operator cut her off, they would use that as a prime example to play the audio, and then as the hang-up happens, they could then look at the crowd of the recruits of the 911 people and say, okay, where was the error? And you have just listened to a potential assault, blood-curdling screams. You may have just listened to a woman being murdered. You're not thinking of anything else, but some people are like, the operator cut her off. And that's what they try to get you to do, because if you call 911, the first thing they want to know is your name and your address and zip code, state, and all that stuff. So I've always just assumed it wasn't real. Knowing it's real, but knowing that she lived, I feel so much better. It's like a weight lifted off of me, because that is a devastating sound to hear. And every time I hear the Ruth Price phone call start, I instantly just get that feeling of, I don't want to hear it because of the screaming, because I always think of my own grandmother or my nana, grandparents. And if I ever heard them scream like that, I would be hunting the person that put their hands on them. And I wouldn't be alone. I have one side, four male cousins. And well, I have more than that, but I don't keep up with like 4 of them. I have 4 male cousins that I'm at least have interacted with. The other 4, I don't talk to. And then on my Nana's side, that whole family filled with, I mean, I have double the cousins over there. And family over there, I think they'd all be on the prowl. They'd all be driving around looking. Oh well. Hey, I'm going to end the video here because I have been chatting for a while. I think this has been about a half-hour plus video. And I have a cut on my leg for some reason. But I'm not going to show you because I'm in my underoos. I'm relaxing. What do you want from me? Okay, I'm going to end this here. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mr. Nightmare. What the hell are you two growling about? Stupid. I can do it too. One of them just buried her head under a pillow. Okay, you don't care about any of this. I apologize. Have a good day. Have a good night.